Alrick Show.
Burro, how are you going at them socks?
String beans, don't watch my socks. These will make me go faster.
His role as Stringbean in the popular series Royal Palm Estates made him a household name in Jamaica. Today, we have on set Michael Stringbean Nicholson. How are you doing, Mr. Nicholson?
Alrick.
Yeah, man, nice to meet you, man.
Pleasure.
I used to just watch you on TV.
Yeah, that's not where it started, but that's where most people know me from.
Yeah,
So.
I mean, I remember it was Sunday nights.
Yes.
Sunday nights I had to go to my bed. But I would still take a little peek now and then. I would see Stringbean.
And it's interesting because I keep meeting so many people who keep saying, you know, I couldn't watch it. I said, why you couldn't watch it? My kids watched it because I'm in it. So, and they said, no, we couldn't watch it. So we used to hide and watch it. And we never see it, but we hide and watch it. I just couldn't figure out why.
Whoa. What was that experience like though, man?
Well, let me tell you, I've been always doing theater, you know, pantomime, that kind of thing. And the next thing you know is, Lenny Little White saw me a couple of years before and said, you know, I have this little project in the pipeline that I want you to be a part of, but when I'm sure about it, I'll let you know. And next thing you know is years later, there's Royal Palm Estate on TV, and I'm watching it going, why? I must have this, you know, when I talk about, I can't wait for that. I wish he would. And the next thing you know is, he did Tracks. A spin-off, right? So Mackie had left the show, who was a gardener then, and gone off to do Tracks. So there's this void that was left now where they needed a new gardener to play the role in Royal Palm Estate. So the next thing you know is he was asking amongst his cast, and then remembered that I had done an audition before, and said, call Nicholson, man, call Nicholson. So I came in, and he told me about this character that he wrote called Stringbeans, and big up yourself, Lenny, for creating that character. But he said, Stringbeans are too righted, right? But he's wise nevertheless, so don't be fooled by what he does. So he called me in to read the part, and he said, how would you dress this character? I said, oh, me know just a thing, man. So my first son, I borrowed one of his shirts, which was a couple size smaller, and in khaki pants, which was about 2 sizes smaller, and put that on. And I said, all right, well, just bring it with you on the set the day, and we'll take it from there.
And your water boot?
Look here, man, I don't get the water boot yet. No, get the water boot yet. So when I walked in on the set, right, and he said, okay, bring out Stringbeans now, and let's start. Look here, the cameramen are on the ground, production people. And I said, awa. All I said was, awa.
What did it take for you to assume that role though? How did you get into that character?
Well, because of my roles in pantomime where I played a lot of comedic characters in there, it was a combination of all of them and a combination of people who I knew back in the day in country, because I grew up in Westmoreland, in Sabrama. So knowing a combination of different types of people who I knew then, who I grew up with, you know, older people, younger people who kind of have head tech sometime and thing. I said, yeah, if I combine all of these people together, then it should work. And then, of course, there was also RJR's radio serial Wrong Move, where I played a character called Danny. So even before the transport center was built, back in the day when I was a young teacher heading to Arden, you could actually hear the radios of the shoemakers who are out there. Remember, there used to be a set of shoemakers along there. You could hear those radios on listening to Wrong Move. Outside, so to and you'd actually hear the sound of your own voice and go, gee, that's me, but nobody knows this. So there's this cloak of mystery. So the first episode when I came on Royal Palm Estate, and I walk in going, hello, Miss Joyce is there? And people suddenly went, hold on, they don't know. And the Miss Joyce was the original Miss Joyce in the show Wrong Move too. Oh, yeah. So they knew her, they already put a face to her voice. Then suddenly there is Stringbeans. But not Danny that, no, a Stringbean him name, a him that, and then the rest, as they say, is history. It just snowballed after that.
No, your earlier years back in Westmoreland, what was that like? What was family setting like?
Well, I grew up with my mom and dad. I have 2 brothers, 2 sisters, so there's 5 of us. My big sister had lived abroad. She had studied abroad, so she was away. And I lived with my mom and dad. I went to the Godfrey Stewart High School, which is, well, at the time it was secondary, so we got secondary school.
Yes.
Right. So after graduating from there, it was a case of, do you go off to college, or what were you going to do with your life? So I was always a festival baby, so I always entered festival, did speech, did drama, did music, never did dance. And I was good at what I did, so I win gold medal, silver, sometimes a certificate of merit. But I was encouraged to continue. had people coming down from drama school. At the time, it was called the drama school or the National School of Drama, who would see us and see our work through festival and said, well, look, why don't you, pursue a degree or a diploma in drama and education and theatre arts there and take your career from there. So I actually took the Michael test for Michael and also for Edna Manley, passed for both of them and made the choice to go to Edna Manley, which was then the National School of Drama. And then after that, I did teaching practice at Arden High School. And I'm doing teaching practice there. They're very impressed with my work. So when they'd asked me after finishing and in the process of graduating, what do I intend to do? Right. When I left there, I said, well, I'm going back to Westmoreland to do what I do, But they said, no, you're not going back there. We are putting you on the timetable. You are teaching at Arden. Welcome to Arden. So I thought, okay then, cool.
What was the teaching experience like?
Oh, that was absolutely wonderful. I think it's one of my best early years, best foundation. I mean, the Arden family is absolutely fantastic. And of course, they always had a cultural and drama program there. I went in and kind of continued it to the point now where I can now boast freely that Arden High School now has the best performing arts program in the Caribbean right now. Great. Yes.
What were some of the things that you would tell yourself in the early years about, becoming your best?
I'd seen my mentors like Oliver Samuels, which is the first time I actually saw a black man doing an ad on TV, right? And I thought, Oliver Samuels it was Anchor Butter, a bit before your time, but on seeing it, this is when TVs were in black and white, but there I am seeing this gentleman talking about Anchor Butter, like he bit into this piece of bread and went, what, this no butter? I went, he's speaking patois on TV. I'm going like, I want to do that too. Where is this man? I mean, he's so funny. And I thought, I could do that, So that was one of the things that spurred me on. And coming to drama school now, where after entering festival and thinking I was all of that from my parish, I realized that now my fellow classmates were all of that from their parishes. So right then and there, right, Dennis Scott realized that it was Clash of the Champions in one space. So he just told us that, look, you're all fragments now, right? So until you become a whole, we'll deal with you individually until we build you up to what you need to be. So he broke us down completely. We had to check the egos at the door and all of that, and we had to now learn the basics of basic theater skills, drama, how it works, what we need to do. Learn to act from our emotional gut, that kind of thing. So it wasn't just, going in and acting or coming out and saying, oh yeah, we're talented. No, you literally had to learn all the basics.
We take a break. When we come back, we continue our conversation with Michael Nicholson. Alrick Show. Welcome back to the Alrick Show. We have Michael Nicholson on set with us today. The industry, can this entire industry be very stressful?
It depends on who you are in the industry. So if you're an actor, for example, and you're preparing a script for opening night, that's your kind of stress. If you're a director, you have the stress of putting all the elements, production elements together, that becomes your stress. If you're a producer now, where it's your money now that you're banking on a piece to make sure you can make that is where you got a whole lot of stress. Right. So your stress level depends on where you are in the industry.
For you, how has it been?
It's been good. I mean, I've been at it for 30 years and I must admit that there has not been a year that I have not worked or I've not done a production or something, whether acting or directing. So I guess with me, I guess we're probably marking at some of the plays people didn't see, others people did see. I guess a lot of it was overshadowed by doing Royal Palm Estate for so many years, so many people know me in that capacity. So when because I was still doing theatre and still doing Royal Palm Estate at the same time, there are a lot of production companies that realize that, look, if you get the Stringbeans brand attached to them production, that could up the marketing and up patrons coming to the show, so that made a difference too. Right. So I wouldn't know if there was a low or high point. All I knew is, in the words of Samuel L. Jackson, I just wanted to be working. Good. Right?
Which is most difficult, television or on stage?
I think stage is more difficult. For me, stage is more difficult. You have to learn the lines. You get time to learn the lines, but the thing is, you have to be playing bigger characters, bigger gestures, because you're on stage, because your nearest member of the audience is like 10 feet away. right? Average 10 to 20 feet away. However, when you're doing television, the camera's like right here. So you have to think and feel how you look and how you feel, and that emotion has to be thought and then shown on your face.
What are some of the characters that you have played over the years that stand out to you, that you remember well and you really enjoy those characters?
Well, my first one, which was my first pantomime trash, I played a character called Couscous, which was a windscreen wiper. Right, I was part of a posse that white windscreen, so we did just face the outsider and, you know, happy-go-lucky. And I wore shorts. My knees became famous for the first time because they were now exposed to the nation. And so I had that to deal with. Later on, I played a character called Bigger. No, Milanga Maga, and then called me Bigger. So I understand what that must have been like. Right. So there was that character, but then I think the one that I really enjoyed the most was one called Papacita. Yeah. Where this was in Schoolers, where now I was a school custodian, but I was responsible for selling something called Happiness Tonic, which was really drugs disguised as a sweetie that would make everybody happy. So that for me was my final watershed. That's the role that kind of launched me now into the public side.
From all these characters that you have played, what are some of the lessons or how some of your lessons in life, you know, came out in some of these characters?
Well, a lot of it came out of the experiences that you've had. You take those experiences to those characters to make them real, to make them authentic, so that they're believable. Right? One thing with the Jamaican audience, and it's your toughest audience ever. Yeah. Right? The Jamaica, no other place in the world is as tough as your Jamaica. If you don't convince them that what you're doing is real, they can see right through you. At a glance, them see right through you. So you have to be real to the character. You have to be faithful to it. You have to believe that what you're doing is in fact who you are and project that to them. Because if you don't, them say right through it, right? I say, no, you're not ready. Nobody, them tell you straight up.
What has been your biggest moment on stage wherein probably you'd have forgotten a line, or that most memorable on stage, and what was happening that when you remember this day, you just laugh about it or you're sad about it?
Well, there's two of them. There was one when we did a show called Brookings, and I was having a really, really bad cold. You know, so my nose kept running. So I just took a wad of toilet paper and stuck it in the sleeve of the shirt. So went on stage, opening number, we're on the stage, and I dancing, and when the people them laughing, and I dancing for them more, come say, yes, it looked like it, and I have them, and that time the toilet paper slowly reeling out from my sleeve and going all over the place, and the cast is now cracking out, and well, look here, I must be killing it tonight. And when I come out to the stage manager, grab me and say, idiot, you don't see the toilet paper? Oops. And that's when I realized that the whole roll of toilet paper now has been trailing on the ground. And,
but it comes across as if it's a part of the act?
Well, I'm not too sure. I'm seeing the reaction of the audience and I'm thinking, yeah, I'm doing really, really well. And the cast is cracking. I say, I must be doing something very special tonight, man. I'm on a roll here. Only to find out that there's toilet paper running out my sleeve, so, you know. It didn't come over quite well with stage management or any of them. But for me, I was like, okay, me learn my lesson now. Right? Note to self, do not walk on stage.
Have you ever been on stage where you have forgotten a line or two?
Yes, but
how do you get around those moments? How people get around those moments?
You have to trust the act. You have to trust the other person you're working with. So if you send a line, which is probably the wrong cue for them, you pray that they will realize that you sent the wrong line and send it back to you so you can catch it back. So you're literally trained to concentrate on what you're doing to the point where if something like that does go wrong, you can in fact deal with it. So you have to be aware that there's a fourth wall there, but somewhere in that fourth wall, somebody in the audience might suddenly throw something at you, right? Or say something in there, or a fight breaks out. You have to know whether to pause and deal with it or continue the show as if there's nothing happening out there.
You remember any moment? Do you remember any moment?
Yeah, there was this one time when the scene had started. We were doing Schoolers at the time, and an actress had walked out into the scene, which she was actually filling in for somebody else. So it was a matinee performance. So she walks out and she's busy doing the scene, but that wasn't the scene. I'm the one that's supposed to start the scene. So I go, oh gosh, she's come out. So the lights come up and she's there when the light's supposed to come up, and I walk on stage. So she's suddenly there. So I just walk and I go, what you doing here? You're not supposed to be here. Come off. And she go, what you say? Me say, come off. Come off. Yes, I think I hear somebody calling you. Yes, Etta call you. Go on to Etta. And she goes, oh, and she looks across, she sees the same man going. So she goes, all right then, me talk to you later, Papa. Tell me say, yes, darling, later. And then I go right into character. And nobody knew that we just thought it was part of the scene.
And you would have done some work with Oliver?
Yes, right. Well, I did. I worked, my first time with Oliver was actually doing the pantomime,
so
which was
the man
trash.
who used to watch on TV?
Yes, it came full circle after doing my first pantomime and getting a chance to act with him. And then later on, we did the Oliver at Large series. Yeah. So I ended up doing that, and that was my first appearance on television.
I remember a famous scene with Oliver and Dion Silvera on the plane.
Oh yes.
I remember that. Right.
So we did Jamrock Hotel with him, and then the first time I actually did a two-hander with Oliver and I was when we did Blowout Dog Food, when we had to actually, I got him to do a dog commercial, but a dog food commercial, but he thought we were actually going to be doing acting. Right. And I got beaten up as a result. We were both dressed as dogs, and we had a body. It was called Blowout Dog Food at the time. It exists, look it up.
Check it out. All right, we take a break. When we come back, we continue our conversation with Michael Stringbean Nicholson.
Alrick Show.
Welcome back to the Alrick Show. We have Michael Stringbean Nicholson on set with us today. Now, how different is it to prepare for a movie versus to go on stage?
Okay.
For you?
Well, for a movie, first of all, you audition with hundreds of people. So, because I'm thinking, that no, I'm Michael Nicholson, so I shouldn't have to go through all that. No, I have to pick a number same way, wait in a line, and they give the one line to do. And if you're that one person, the director says, yeah, him look like, yeah, then you're good. So you hope that will happen. So once you get through all of that and you actually get your script now, the idea is to learn the lines as quickly as possible, because with movies, they shoot different segments on a particular day. So if this day is your segment, it's your segment. And therefore, once you come in, especially when you go up against another quote-unquote star, especially if they're international, they're coming and saying, all right, impress me. And I'm going, you better impress me. Because you're in my yard now, right? You're in my house. So my reaction is usually, okay, let's go for it. So we usually do a line rehearsal before, and if it's smooth and it runs okay, then say, all right, fine, take a break, and they start doing the lineups and the angles and all of this. And you will spend the whole day doing the same line over and over again from different angles.
And of course, you have appeared on the big screen as well.
Yes.
Which movie was it?
I did One Love with Kimani Marley.
What was the role played?
My role was Mine was Peter Douglas. That was my role at the time. Yeah. So I was actually in charge. I was working for a music mogul who wanted to make sure that he got the best artist for his new album. So I was busy trying to get everything together, organizing the competition so they could get the right singer for the part.
How was that experience for you?
It was good. I mean, working with Kamali, Bella, Shireen Anderson, it was really, really good. And then there was a young Idris Elba, who we never know who at the time, right? But I thought, okay, cool, him kind of get the accent well and thing. Still couldn't think why he was there, because I didn't know who he was at the time. I don't think anybody else did, right? But then, it's pretty cool on set and thing, and next thing you know is we hear about Idris, and Idris is now all that and then some,
star,
right? But it was a really good, it was a nice Jamaican play. Good setting and all that. We got a chance to actually shoot in the Ward Theatre before it got to where it is now.
Great,
so it was good being in there, and actually having that last scene being shot in there. So that was really good.
Have you accomplished all that you have set out to accomplish?
There are some things I haven't done yet. Like I want to eventually start my own production company. I want to eventually tell my own story. Those are some of the things I'd like to do. But I think a lot of the stuff that I've done so far have been like making sure that my kids are accomplished and are doing stuff for themselves and are independent. I think that I can tick off my bucket list. So those are one of the things that I really want to do, and I think I've achieved that.
Right. How many children do you have?
I have three.
Three?
Two boys and a girl.
Wow, what's the name?
Courtney, Jerome, and Craig.
Yeah.
Courtney is actually a girl. Courtney Michelle.
Oh, cool. What do you want your legacy to be, and also what would you want biggest lesson to be for your children?
Well, biggest lesson for me would be once you find your goals, once you find your aim, once you find what you want to do in life, just keep the focus on it and do it. Right? I remember years ago when I first saw pantomime as a youngster, I realized that was where my life was going to go. That's what I wanted to do. And years later, after graduating from school, doing Edna Manley College, and I was finally on stage with the greats at the Ward Theatre, I realized, wow, I did it. up to this point. This was one goal that I had achieved. I knew there was lots more that I had to do. I always wanted to know what it felt like to actually do a movie. And even before One Love, there was Going to Extremes, which was a television series that was shot here by Lorima Television, which had lots of Jamaicans in it at the time. And they were shooting here like every week. We literally, for about a year, had an industry where we're actually doing a television series that was shot here, that was being shown the next week on, back in the day, JBC television. That was a big deal.
There are two productions happening now, Young and the Reckless.
Yes.
And
Pit to Pulpit.
What is good about both?
Well, the good thing about them is that Pit to Pulpit is a production done by Mikhail Solomon. And Mikhail Solomon Ministries is actually a Christian player, quote unquote, a Christian player, which looks at a pastor who has fallen on not really hard times, but he's not doing as well as he should. He's about to be ordained as a minister, but there are things that he hasn't done that he needs to get together. So in the story, you realize his conflicts, his hold on the past, and how at the end of the day he triumphs. So it's a really nice inspirational drama, which isn't preachy, and it's fun for the entire family. Right. So that's what happens with that one. So it's been really going really, really well so far.
And the Young and the Reckless?
Young and the Reckless now is total comedy, right? Again, I play the character of a father who is a single parent to a daughter, who is getting up to all kinds of things that I'm not aware of. And I'm trying to hold it together as a single parent and as a male single parent, because you find that there's not many of that. Or you always find, yes, there's a female single parent and they're the one that's struggling. But here is a story of a male single parent who's trying to hold it together with a daughter, female, and how that kind of conflict now happens and how he ends up triumphs and how she triumphs in the end with that particular show.
What would you do differently now, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, looking back? What would you have done differently?
I think what I would have done then, I keep telling myself, is to pace myself. I'm a go-getter. I can't keep still, right? I can't keep still. If I stay still too long, my foot starts to do this. I have to go in. Hold on. So yeah, I would tell myself to pace myself, because I think we live in an age now where everybody wants to get things and wants to get it now, right? Which is a good thing, right. But I also think it could be to your detriment, health-wise and otherwise. So you really need to focus on what you need to do and pace yourself in getting there.
Stop to smell a rose.
Yes.
And stop to, stop to love. Stop to laugh.
Because I mean, you can spend your life trying to get to every time you achieve one goal, you're running after the next, and you run after the next. But at the end of the day, what are you in fact doing? What happens along the way? How do you enjoy the trip? At the end of the day, when you breeze through the whole of it, what did you achieve? What did you enjoy about that? True. Nothing, because you just got from one point to the other. Okay, so then what's the next thing? No, you need to pace yourself, take your time, and enjoy life. You have to enjoy life. Enjoy your friends, enjoy your family, right? Those are the moments that matter the most.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Michael Nicholson, for sharing.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. We're mirroring now.
Oh, exactly. We want to thank you so much for sharing with us, with Michael Nicholson on The Alrick Show. The Alrick Show will be back next week.
Alrick Show.